Oh, hello. Hi there. So today I thought I'd do one of those totally unique, never before done TBRs. This year's gonna be my 2018 TBR. Now, these aren't all the books I want to read this year, far from it. But I also know myself and I'm overly ambitious, and even this many is more than I've read in the previous few years. That's why I don't consider myself a booktuber, because I actually don't read all that much. But hey, I am aiming to read 40 books this year. I can do it. I just need to, do it. So, the first book on my TBR is one that I thought would be kind of visible, but it's actually sort of hidden. Maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't. City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. Yes, I am aware this was popular 5-6 years ago, and I'm behind on the train, but I'm liking it. For the uninitiated, City of Bones and the entire Mortal Instruments series is about this girl named Clary who winds up getting involved in this whole secret New York, or are they in New York? Where are they? They're in New York City. I got it right. It's almost like I'm reading the book right now. There's like this hidden world in New York of all these like demons and vampires and all these like mythological creatures, and she's like trying to cope with that, and it's cool. And it's very urban fantasy, and it has a stupid cover. Did I mention that? I'm actually about halfway done this one. The whole Shadowhunters world was a bit intimidating, to say the least. It's like 13 books at this point, and that's a lot of books. The reason I hadn't gotten to this book before, because I've had it on my shelf for a few years, is because of the cover. This is a stupid cover. I get what they're trying to go for here. They were aiming for the young adult sort of, oh my gosh, he's so dreamy, will they, won't they? But this implies a lot more of like the story being focused on the romance. And while it's there, I'm halfway through and it's not the focus. The focus is on this girl coming into her own in this world that she doesn't understand. I'm just a little bit frustrated that I let a cover put me off for that long. But of course it doesn't matter because I'm reading it now. It's good. I'm excited to see where the series goes. The second book I want to read this year, in no particular order, is Throne of Glass. This book has been on my list for a while now, and I hear so much good stuff about it. This book sounds cool, the cover is cool. I'm a sucker for a good cover, but I think what put me off this book for so long was the hype. I heard so many good things about Maze Runner, and when Maze Runner ended up being not a great book, I kind of stopped trusting the general booktube consensus on things. Like, it seemed like everyone was just going crazy for the same books. And I guess I was being a bit of a hipster in that regard, and I'm sorry. I'm excited for this, though. Throne of Glass is about this, like, badass female assassin girl who something happens to, and it's high fantasy, and it's apparently really badass. Sounds cool. Now I'm gonna try to balance out this list with more well-known titles and then lesser-known titles. And this next book, I don't know if it's popular or not, but Engines of the Broken World by Jason Vanhee. I'm just gonna read the first part of the back blurb here so that you can understand why I was so gripped by this. It snowed the day our mother died. Snowed so hard and so soft at the same time that we could neither bury her nor take her out to the barn. So we set her, my brother and me, under the kitchen table. And we left her there because we didn't know what else to do. Does that not just like fill you with like this image? Did the kids kill her? I'm getting the vibe they killed her, but I'm also getting the vibe like they have just an unfortunate life, like their mom's dead. It sounds really cool. I have no idea what the book's about, but it sounds great. It's pretty short, so this is like an afternoon read, but I'm excited for this one. We're not gonna beat around the bush here. Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. As somebody who likes young adult and has loved what I've read of Rainbow Rowell, it is a complete crime that I have not read Carry On. I acknowledge this. There is so much hype going into this book. I'm a sucker also for LGBT storylines because I'm part of that community, and I'm like, I want to read this so bad. Carry On is like it's like Harry Potter, but it's starring the characters that were in the main fiction that the main character of Rainbow's early work, Fangirl, was writing. And this is her fanfiction, and I'm so excited because I really enjoyed the fanfiction parts of Fangirl. Speaking of, I should really at some point reread Fangirl and do some kind of like book talk on it because I loved it. It was so good. Eleanor Park, Rainbow. I'm a little wary of this coffee because the cream in it expired like 10 days ago, but it's still fine. Next up, The Deep by Nick Cutter. A few years ago, I read The Troop by Nick Cutter, and while I didn't think it was the best book ever, I really enjoyed it. And, you know, I'm always in the mood for, like, a good horror novel, so The Deep sounds like that. From what I gather, The Troop is about people stuck on a boat, and they're researching something to try to, like, find this cure for this, like, disease that makes people forget things. Then apparently they unearth something, so, like, I'm, like, taking it, this is pretty much like, The Thing. I also think the cover's gorgeous. Like, look at the contrast. It's just, it's really cool and foreboding. Next up, we have The Savage Song by Vanhee Schwab. Anyone who's watched my channel for a while knows that I am a sucker for Vanhee Schwab. She is, without a doubt, my favorite author. Why haven't I read this? I don't know. I just haven't read this book yet. I have this and Our Dark Duet both on my list to read this year. I mean, I love all of her stuff. It doesn't make sense. The Savage Song used to be known as Monsters before it got published, and it's about a girl who starts the book burning down a church because she's like a rebellious girl and doesn't want to stay where she is, and she ends up teaming up with this monster. And the way I take it, it's like the monsters from under your bed or something. She befriends one who's trying to like blend in and live in the real world. And I think that's a really cool premise. I'm also pretty sure the main character's dad is somebody who hunts these monsters, so there's a lot of potential for good conflict there. Yeah, it's a duology. I'm excited for it. And we're just gonna cut to it. Next on the list is A Conjuring of Light by Vanhee Schwab. Words cannot express how much I loved A Gathering of Shadows, though I tried and I actually filmed a review for it on my channel last year. I got about 200 pages into this and I wasn't ready for it. I feel like with fantasy books, I get a lot of false starts. Like I start them, I'm really into them, and then I stop. I'm pretty sure it was because I don't want this series to end. I know there's more novels coming out, but this is the end of the trilogy. This is the last time I believe we get to really follow Kel and Lila. I'm not ready for that to end. Lila is like my favorite book character of all time, other than Eli Evers from Vicious, which was another Victoria Schwab book. Go read her books. If you haven't, what are you doing? They are so good. Next on the list is Taken by Erin Bowman. I'm not afraid to admit that I picked this up mainly because it was cheap and because I thought the cover looked cool. On their 18th birthday, every boy vanishes over this like wall or something, and it sounds intense. Maybe it could be like what Maze Runner should have been, you know, a story with characters. I didn't realize I had so much unresolved anger towards the Maze Runner. That book wasn't great, but wow. Next on the list is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I've only read one of Adam's books so far, and that was History Is All You Left Me. I really liked it. I thought it was a really good book. This one, the cover is just blowing me away. Like, look at this shade of blue. Like, you could drown in this shade of blue. People get a call on the day they're supposed to die, and they're like, hey, you're gonna die. Okay, bye. I think it's about two boys who end up getting that call, and I think it's more about like their friendship / romance. I'm not really sure if it's a romance or not. I'm excited. I'm obviously excited for all these books because I love books. I have 4 books left on this list. And this next one is Manifestation by Jason Cantrell. So one of my goals this year is to read more self-published books. As a self-published author myself, I feel like I don't read enough of them. I picked up this one because it sounded interesting, and it's by one of the people I know. So, hey Jason, if you're watching, hi. From what I know of this book, it sounds like it's very much like X-Men, but with people with magical powers instead of standard, like, I guess, is X-Men magic? I feel like X-Men might be magic. It's a girl who grew up reading fairy tales, has always believed in magic. Her parents are like, no, magic's totally not real. Magic's totally real. So, I'm excited for it. I think the cover's really cool. I can't tell where her shirt begins and her skin ends. Close to the end of the list is The Coldest Girl in Coldtown by Holly Black. I've had this book for a few years. It sounds fun, like it's like I'm getting like an American Horror Story season 3 Coven type vibe. A girl goes to a party and she wakes up and like everyone's dead. I'm like, what would you do in this situation? Like everyone has just died at this party you're at. So this is a book I believe about vampires. I'm excited. Second last book I really am aiming to read this year is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. First of all, look, it's black. That is cool. It's about like, it's like a heist. It's a heist in a magical kingdom. It sounds really cool. I read a little bit of it, like the first page or so, just to see if I like the writing style, because that's really what I look for when I'm picking up a book. I read the first page and I'm like, did I like the writing style? Can I stick with this? And the answer is yes, very, very much so. This looks very well written, and I'm excited to jump on this train. And the final book, after my throat is raw and my life has drained and I am now 84 years older, The Unbecoming of Dyer. I know this is like a really confusing book that has apparently a really like unsatisfying final installment in the trilogy. I don't know what this is about, honestly. I thought the title The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer sounded cool. Like, it could be about anything. And she's like floating in water with some guy like groping her when he should really be trying to save her. Like, that's not how you save someone. Why is he wrapping his leg around her? Her mouth is underwater. So that is my official kind of confirmed I want to read these this year. All of this is very subjective. It's the early year. I have no idea what my taste is going to be later on. I mean, heck, if I keep enjoying City of Bones and read the rest of like the Shadowhunters Chronicles, that would really change the shape of this sort of year. That's all I have for you. Take care there. Have a great day. Goodbye. Stay fancy. Hasta la pasta. I am hungry. I want pasta.